Welcome everybody to this assessment checklist tutorial. The video today will walk you through the steps of creating basic assessment roles in the system as well as checklist templates. We will also see together how this checklist can then be instantiated by users, and we will discover other functionalities available in Jems version 5 regarding checklist instantiations like setting them as consolidated, returning them to Creator for corrections, or setting them as visible to privileged users like MC members. Let's get started. Being logged in as administrator, we first create the roles necessary for the assessment, like assessor, and we select here the basic privileges we need for the assessor. So view right for the application and annexes, and the right to create checklists. Also, we select the view privilege here so that the assessor can see in the dashboard the applications assigned to it. Then another role that we will create will be that of a consolidator. And we also select basic privileges for the consolidator, access in read-only mode to the application and annexes, and also the right to flag finish checklist as consolidated. This is only possible to be set as active if the one above is also set as active. What other privilege I want to give to this role is the right to select the finished checklist that will be visible to other actors involved in the assessment, like the MC members. So we create also the role for these viewers of the assessment, the MC members, and not only, and we give them here basic privileges. The program can always adapt this selection of privileges according to own needs and rules. What we do next is we assign the roles to our users. So we have the MC member, the consolidator, and the assessor. And then we can move to the next. Let's see now how we can create a checklist in the system. So logged in as a program user or an admin, we go to the program menu, checklists, and we click create new checklist. We can select here the checklist type. So far in this version of Jems application form assessment is available, and we set a name here. Checklists are not translated, so if you want to use checklist in more languages, we recommend to also add in the name of the checklist also an indication of what can be found there. And very briefly, we name the checklist. If we will have score questions in the checklist, here is where we set the scoring range for all the score questions that will be included in the checklist. I will leave it 0 to 10 here. You can always select 1 to 5, 0 to 7 according to your program rules. If I click this, then the input scores that the assessors will give for each question will be allowed to be manually inserted as figures with 2 decimals. I will leave it like this for this tutorial. We create the checklist. Once we create it, we will see that it will show up here in the list of all checklists created for this program. We go back and we start to add components to this checklist. There are 4 components available in the system. One is a headline. Another component is an option toggle. The system will not automatically number the components in the checklist. So if you want to have an order, all you have to do is write in the question text also the ID of the question. Either it is only a number or a letter and the number, anything your program decided for. Here you can define the options for this component in the checklist. So it can be either the classical yes, no, not applicable, or anything else your program decided to use. Another component that we can add in a checklist is a text input field. Here we will just enter a short description of what we want. Maybe here in the text field and a label. We can also set the number of characters for this input field. That can be a maximum 5,000. I will select here 3,000. And I will also add a score question. Each question that will have the scoring range we established at the beginning can also have a weight according to our program rules. We can always switch the order of the components that we added here. So we can bring them up or down. I will add another score question here with another weight. And I will arrange a bit my checklists. If I want to see how it will look like, I save. And then I go here to preview checklist. This is how my checklist will look like. Whenever there is a score question in the checklist, we will have an overview of the scores. This is our header. This is our score question. And we can test to see how the assessors will see it. And here it is the toggle option component, as well as my text component. So I don't like this order. I go back and I can again change it and save it. We can do changes to a checklist and even deleted until it is first instantiated by a user, by an assessor. Let's now assign projects to our assessors, consolidator, and viewer users. Logged in as admin, I go to Applications and Assignment. Here, I select in the list the project that I want the assessor to be assigned to, and I add here two assessors, a consolidator and an MC member. And I want another project to be assigned to them. So save. And now the assigned projects are in the dashboard of our users. How do we instantiate? Then checklists. The assessor goes to the project they want to check, assessment and decision section, and here they select the checklist they want to instantiate. In our case, is this checklist call 1, and they proceed to filling it in. This was the toggle component. The score question, user can either scroll here or manually input a value. Save. Now the instantiation is showed here in the list of checklists. The assessor can only see instantiations of checklists created by the user and not instantiation created by other users assigned to the same project. User can anytime go back and edit the checklists. They can also delete it. They can create other instantiations. And when the work is finalized, they also mark it as finished checklist. Now the status changed and the checklist can no longer be deleted or edited. Let's have also assessor 2 filling in a checklist. They can do this in parallel in the same time. It doesn't matter because they can't see each other's work. Let's also finish it. So I'm assessor 2, I can't see the checklist filled in by assessor 1. Now we log in as a consolidator. The consolidator can see all the checklists that were instantiated for the project. What a consolidator can do, first, if the checklist needs to be returned to its original creator, the consolidator is the one that can do this. So the checklist was sent back. Status is changed to draft. What else can the consolidator do? They can set a checklist as being the consolidated one. The mark appeared here in the list. Now this checklist is locked. It can't be returned back to the assessors unless it is unticked. It is not marked anymore as a consolidator, and then the function becomes again available. I will leave this as consolidator. What other thing can the consolidator do is creating own instantiations of a checklist. This is very useful when the consolidator needs to summarize maybe conclusions from both assessors assigned to the project. Consolidator can finish his own checklist as usually and can send it, can mark it as consolidated too. What is the other thing that the consolidator can do? They can mark checklists as visible in the system. Only finished checklists can be marked for visibility. I will just select one. Checklist in status draft just don't show up in this list. Now let's log in again as assessor 1 because he got a checklist back. And they add some comments and finalize it again. Now let's go back to the consolidator to check again the list. Okay, the new checklist is here. The new finished one showed up in this list. And I want to mark it also as visible because it is one of the checklists that is justifying my decision here, and I want the MC members to see it too, maybe. And now we log in as a user with view-only privileges. The same step we take. So we are able to see only the checklist marked as visible, and we cannot edit anything. Here it's read-only mode.